They were a couple in China whose names were known in nearly every household. Their fame rivaled that of many emperors, celebrities, and public figures. But strangely enough, people do not remember them for any great achievements. They are remembered because they have been condemned for more than 500 years. Their names have almost become two cultural symbols. One represents a weak and cowardly husband, and the other represents the most viciously unfaithful wife. This couple is Wu Dalang and Pan Jinlian. But here's the question: were they really the people everyone imagines them to be? Or was this actually a huge misunderstanding caused by befriending the wrong person? Hi everyone, I'm Jason, and this is a different story. Today, we are going to talk about the most famous marital scandal in Chinese history, and another version of the truth that may have been buried for centuries. For many Chinese people, the first time they heard the story of Pan Jinlian and Wu Dalang was through the classic TV series Water Margin. In this adaptation of the famous novel, Pan Jinlian is portrayed as an exceptionally beautiful woman. She was originally a maidservant in a wealthy household. Because of her beauty, the master of the house took an interest in her and wanted to make her his concubine. But the young Pan Jinlian refused to submit. Furious and humiliated, the master decided to take revenge on her. He swore that he would marry her off to the ugliest and poorest man in the world. So he found a man who sold steamed cakes on the street, Wu Dalang. In the TV series, Wu Dalang is portrayed as short, poor, and even a little comical. Pan Jinlian was forced to marry him, and from the very beginning, their marriage carried a sense of unfair fate. But at first, the marriage did not immediately turn tragic. Although they lived in poverty, Wu Dalang always treated Pan Jinlian well, and Pan Jinlian also did her best to take care of her husband. If the story had ended there, they might have been nothing more than an ordinary couple. But fate soon took a turn. One day, Wu Dalang's younger brother came to their home. His name was Wu Song. Unlike his older brother Wu Dalang, Wu Song is portrayed in both the novel and the TV series almost as a hero. He is tall, handsome, and highly skilled in martial arts. In the story, Wu Song even kills a tiger with his bare hands, an act that makes him a local legend overnight. It is worth mentioning that when the TV series Water Margin was filmed in the 1990s, China did not yet have mature special effects technology. So for the scene in which Wu Song fights the tiger, the production actually used a live tiger. The tiger was named Xin and was 3 years old at the time. The actor had to perform the action scenes under extremely dangerous conditions. Although the tiger did not actually attack him, the actor still suffered some minor injuries. Now back to the story itself. Wu Song's arrival completely changed the balance of the household. Compared with the image of his older brother Wu Dalang, Wu Song's appearance and presence created a striking contrast. Seeing this tall and handsome man every day, Pan Jinlian gradually began to change inside. One day, while Wu Dalang was away from home, Pan Jinlian confessed her feelings to Wu Song. But Wu Song rejected her, and soon afterward, he left his brother's home. At that moment, another man entered the story. His name was Shimen Qing. In the novel, Shimen Qing is a well-known wealthy merchant in the area and also a typical womanizer. One day, he happened to catch sight of Pan Jinlian on the street and was deeply attracted by her beauty. In order to get close to her, Shimen Qing bribed Pan Jinlian's neighbor, a woman named Wang Po. With Wang Po's help, the two of them soon met and became secret lovers. As their relationship grew more intimate, a problem gradually became impossible to ignore. As long as Wu Dalang was still alive, they could never be together openly. So a plot began to take shape. With Wang Po's help, the three of them conspired to poison Wu Dalang and disguise the murder as a natural death. It was not until Wu Song returned home later and uncovered the truth through his investigation that everything came to light. In the end, Wu Song personally killed the 3 people involved in poisoning his brother and then turned himself in to the authorities. Because of the enormous influence of the novel and the TV series, this story has been passed down in China for hundreds of years. Pan Jinlian gradually became a symbol of the unfaithful woman, while Wu Dalang became a byword for the weak and cowardly husband. Almost every Chinese person knows their names. But here is the question: was this really just a novel? The story took an unexpected turn in the 20th century. In 1946, villagers in a village in Qinghai County, Hebei Province, accidentally discovered an ancient tomb. At the time, people hoped to find valuable burial objects, but there was no gold or silver inside, so the matter was quickly forgotten. It was not until 1992 that the tomb was officially excavated and studied. What was found inside, a written record, shocked many people because the owners of the tomb were identified as Wu Dalang and Pan Jinlian. What was even more surprising was that the story told in those records was almost completely different. According to the text found in the tomb, the man buried there was named Wu Zhi, a government official in the Ming Dynasty. When he was young, people called him Dalang. Wu Zhi grew up in poverty. His father died early, and he and his mother depended on each other for survival. In order to change his fate, he studied very hard and eventually passed the imperial examination, the civil service exam in ancient China, and became an official. His wife, surnamed Pan, was the daughter of a wealthy local family. According to the record, when Wu Zhi was young and poor, the Pan family helped support him many times. Over time, the two developed feelings for each other, eventually married, and had 4 children. Based on these records, their marriage appears to have been quite stable and happy. What is even more interesting is that, based on measurements of the skeletal remains found in the tomb, Wu Zhi was about 1.78 meters tall. In ancient China, that would have been considered quite tall. This is almost the exact opposite of the image in the novel, where he is portrayed as a short, dwarf-like street vendor selling steamed cakes. So why was a tall man who passed the imperial examination and became an official turned into a lowly cake seller in the popular story? And why was a wealthy young lady turned into the most infamous, adulterous woman in Chinese history? The answer may lie in a misunderstanding. According to local records from Qinghai County, the place where Wu Zhi served as an official, Wu Zhi had a friend in his younger years named Huang Tong. When Wu Zhi was still poor, Huang Tong had once helped him. Later, a fire broke out at Huang Tong's home and his house was destroyed. After hearing that Wu Zhi had become an official in Qinghai County, he went to seek his help. Wu Zhi warmly received his old friend and let him stay in his home. At the same time, he secretly sent people to repair Huang Tang's old house. But Wu Zhi was a low-key person and did not tell Huang Tang about it right away. Huang Tang stayed in Wu Zhi's home for a long time, yet never saw any obvious sign of help. Gradually, he began to believe that Wu Zhi looked down on him. In anger, he left Wu Zhi's house and on the road made up many stories about him. In his version of the story, Wu Zhi was no longer an official but a street vendor selling cakes. The once loving couple was turned into an unfaithful wife and a cowardly husband. When Huang Tong returned home, he discovered that his house was actually being repaired. Only then did he realize that he had misunderstood Wu Zhi. But by that time, those stories had already spread. Wu Zhi and his wife also heard them. They assumed they were just rumors that would gradually disappear, but instead, the stories spread farther and farther. Not long after that, a writer heard these stories. His name was Shinayan. At the time, he was working on a novel, and these dramatic rumors happened to be perfect material, so he adapted them and wove the characters and plot into his own work. That novel became Water Margin, one of the 4 great classical novels of China. During the Qing dynasty, Shinayan's descendant, Shi Shengchen, even came to Wu Zhi's tomb and wrote a poem to express his apology. But he was powerless to reverse the public's fixed impression of the couple. What made the story even more outrageous was that in the late Ming Dynasty, another anonymous writer expanded the story of Wu Dalang, Pan Jinlian, and Ximen Qing into an even bolder novel called Jin Ping Mei. Because of its many explicit sexual scenes, the book was banned by the authorities several times throughout history. But the more it was banned, the more people wanted to read it. So this story, filled with scandal, desire, and murder, circulated underground for hundreds of years. In the end, the images of Wu Dalang and Pan Jinlian became completely fixed. Then, in 1998, the TV series Water Margin was aired, and it devoted as many as 5 full episodes to this brief storyline from the novel, making these characters even more deeply rooted in people's minds. One line in particular, when Pan Jinlian feeds Wu Dalang poison, "Dalang, it's time to take your medicine," even became a popular meme on the Chinese internet. It is still widely recognized today. What is ironic is that by the time the TV series aired, the research findings on Wu Dalang's tomb had already been public for 6 years. Yet even today, very few people truly know this history. When a story is repeated enough times, even a lie can become common knowledge. So perhaps, at the very least, this story leaves us with a reminder. Be careful about whom you trust in your personal relationships, and when you come across rumors and gossip online, keep a little skepticism. Take one more look at the facts instead of quickly believing the version that sounds the most shocking and sensational. Because sometimes what destroys a person is not a knife and not poison, but a story that gets repeated over and over again. I'm Jason, and this is A Different Story. If you'd like, next time we'll keep peeling back the layers of history that have been written as if they were obvious and show you a different story.